Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Township Mapleton Council meeting for Tuesday, December 8th, 2025, the last council meeting of the year. And just happy to have everyone here today. We do have some awards to give out. We're pretty excited by that. And the young men are going to tell us all about what they did to win the awards. But before we get there, please rise if you're able for O Canada. And we have declaration of pecuniary interest. I have one here for Councillor Ottens to declare a potential indirect pecuniary interest as she's a member of the LINK organization. And LINK is going to be delegating today. Anybody else have a pecuniary interest? Okay, let's move on then to our bursary awards. We have three young men that were given bursary awards: Cooper Fruke and Parker Douglas and Gavin Walls. Parker and Gavin are both here today. I'm going to invite Parker and Gavin to come up to the front with me. And I think Parker is going to give us all an explanation of what they are here for.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you're going to have to turn around, and there's a camera right there. All right, see that? Okay, now you're going to tell everybody why we're here.
Hi, my name's Parker Douglas, and this is Gavin Walls. And we're here because we're part of the Listowel Legionnaires U11 OVA baseball team, and we won the OVA Provincial Championships on Labor Day weekend in Listowel.
Provincial championships.
Yeah.
So you got the big trophy?
Yeah.
Yeah, and these big medals on here? And rings? Holy smokes, you got these fancy rings too? Holy moly's, they went all out, didn't they?
Yeah.
So was it pretty exciting to win?
Yeah. We
Yeah.
went undefeated the whole time.
You went undefeated the whole time. What position do you play?
Catcher
Really?
and pitcher.
And you do both?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you catch your own ball? Oh, not at the same time?
Yeah.
All right. And what about you? What do you play?
I'm pitcher and outfielder.
Pitcher and outfielder. And you're both bat too, right?
Yep.
So any of you hit a home run?
I had a
Not in the
triple.
A
tournament.
triple, pretty good. Yeah?
I hit a home run, but not in the tournament.
Not in the tournament, but before?
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. So congratulations to both of you. I think it's fantastic that you're here today and we can represent you, have here, and tell the whole world all about your exciting adventure of the tournament. How many games do you have to play to win?
6, I think.
5 or 6.
That's a lot of games. All right. I'm going to ask council to come up here. We can get a nice picture with you guys. Parker, you've been around a few of us in this chamber for a while with your dad. And all right. So if council can come up here, we'll get a picture. with these two fellows. I'm going in the middle of you guys, and we'll get counsel on both sides of you. It's okay, Paul, you guys just stand up. Hold on. All right. Congratulations. Margaret. All right. You got to keep behind you. They want to shake your hand too. Do they come off easily? No. That is a lot of bling on their fingers there. Okay, we'll move on to confirmation of minutes. Resolution 4.1, moved by Councillor Woodham, second by Councillor Ottens, that the minutes of the Township of Mapleton Council meeting held on November 25th, 2025 be circulated, confirmed as circulated in the agenda. All in favor? That's carried. We now have a matter under the Planning Act. So we'll go into a public meeting right now. This is a public meeting under the Planning Act to hear comments from the public and agencies and give consideration to application ZBA 2025-09 for proposed zoning bylaw amendment. Subject lands are located at part lots 1, 2, 3, lot 5, and part lot 20, King's Survey, 60R 1301, part lot 1, with 70 meters of frontage on Booth Street East. The entire combined properties are 1.01 hectares in size and are vacant except for a garage. Purpose and effect is to rezone the subject lands from R1C to R2 to permit semi-detached dwellings. In total, there will be 3 semi-detached dwellings for 6 units. The zone amendments will also satisfy conditions of consent applications B6524, B6624, and B6724, which received provisional approval to create 3 lots. The retained parcel requires relief for a reduced frontage and will also require a minimum density requirement to satisfy a condition of consent. The amendment may also include placing a holding provision on some other subject lands to address servicing constraints. Mr. Clerk, statutory requirements, please.
Thank you, sir. Staff can confirm that property owners, Mapleton staff, and agencies were provided with required notice on November 18th. There is a comment summary included in the Township Planner's Report. Proper on-site postings completed November 19th. Source water comments from Risk Management Inspector Daniel Fisher received on November 26th. No concerns. County of Wellington comments from Planner Jamie Barnes received November 28th. GRCA comments from Resource Planner Jessica Conroy also attached. And I do have 2 reasonably long letters we need to read into the minutes.
Go ahead, sir.
The first one is from Willem Cappers, who lives at 21 Booth Street East. It's addressed to members of council and other interested parties. I am writing to formally express my strong opposition to the proposed zoning amendment as outlined, which seeks to rezone the property from R1C to R2 and permit the construction of 3 semi-detached homes, 6 units. My opposition is based on the following concerns: out-of-place development size compared to adjacent properties. On the street in question, the existing homes are all owner-occupied detached family homes with an average density of approximately 1 home per acre. It is surrounded by farm fields on 2 sides and lacks amenities like streetlights, hydrants, or sidewalks. The proposal will result in an area of town with a density of 6 families on the same amount of land where there is normally only 1. Point number 2 is traffic and pedestrian safety. as the proposed development will lead to an additional 6 to 12 cars turning on and off a busy street multiple times a day, there is an undeniable increased risk of collisions. This risk is increased as the density may lead to cars having to park alongside the road during birthday parties, Christmas, etc. Add to that the fact that cars are often speeding on the road because the road really starts opening up, and that the property is also located on a hill, the risk of something major happening becomes extremely high. Secondly, because the units will inevitably cost less, they will attract a lot of first-time buyers and young families. The distance to the school, playground, post office, and convenience store are easily within walking or biking distance, but due to the lack of sidewalks for the majority of Booth Street, these people will be forced to travel on a busy road that has no shoulder. And point number 3, unclear plan from the developer. Based on what has been presented so far, there is a clear lack of detail regarding the actual plan. Questions like the size of the buildings and where they will actually be located have all been left off the application. Due to the irregular parcel shape and giant slope for the majority of the parcel, I personally do not see a way to fit all the units in the space available without some serious compromises involving the backyard size and slope. Houses placement near each other, parking spaces, or water table due to the nearby floodplain. I appreciate the time that council has taken to review the matter and hope an appropriate resolution can be found to address the many concerns I have with this proposal. And that was Willem Kappers at 21 Booth Street East. And the second letter is from Weeb and Ruth Van Zwol. Our property is 31 Booth Street East in Moorfield, right beside the access way to the old Moorfield dump and the subject lands. We have the following concerns. Number 1, on the map provided there is no location shown where the proposed semi-detached dwellings are located. Number 2, we are opposed to the idea of putting 6 semi-detached dwellings in this area. Number 3, the proposal does not fit with the type of residential area we are living in. Number 4, we can see an additional house maybe. Number 5, also there are no sidewalks in this area. And number 6, we are also interested if there is a plan for the old Moorfield dump and the use of the existing access way to the old dump. Thank you for your opportunity to share our thoughts and input. We wish you blessings from above and wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. And we'll now hear from Michelle McCabe, Planning Department Manager.
Thank you very much. Through you, Mayor, actually, we do have our planner waiting online.
Oh, we do?
Yes,
Okay.
but happy to answer
I
any
didn't
other
know that.
questions.
Hi, Linda. Hello, Linda.
Good evening. I had to turn my mute off. Thank you, Mayor, through you, Mayor. If Carl can scroll down to the figure 2 in my report, it shows the lot configuration. And I'll just speak to that in my comments. If you want to go down to the next page, Carl. Next, right there. Thank you. This application is in front of council for a few reasons. The main reason is that they went through a consent process last year to create the 3 lots, the 3 yellow lots on the map in front of you. And then the retained lands are the lands that have the hatched in behind that. So those consents, all of them have received provisional approval except one. One is in a deferral pattern at this point because of some technicalities with respect to merging the lands. But it's received a provisional approval, just hasn't, it's deferred. Sorry. One's deferred, 2 have received provisional approval. So this is, they're moving forward now in order to clear their conditions of consent. And the conditions that the township has imposed on these properties are that they are placed in a holding zone because there is no services available at this point in time. After meeting with our public works manager, we've determined that there's enough service to provide allocation to one of the lots, which would have 2 dwelling units on it, one semi-detached unit with 2 units. But the remaining lands have to be put into a holding until services are available. And also, as part of the consent, we asked that the retained lands, the larger parcel in the back, has a zoning placed on it that will require that there's a certain amount of density placed on the back portion. Currently, the lands are zoned single-family residential, R1A, or R1C, I'm sorry. And so essentially you could put one dwelling back there, and that's really not preferable because these lands are located right in urban center of Moorfield. So we'd prefer to see those lands developed with more density on them. And this is an opportunity to put a nice multiple unit development back there. So we've asked that we place site specific on those lands to require that more than one dwelling be constructed on that large retained land. But in discussions with the landowner, he decided that maybe since he had to go through the rezoning process anyways, why not include a zone amendment on the 3 lots that were created to allow semi-detached units rather than single-family units. The zoning allowed the single-family anyways, and those are large parcels. So it's definitely a preferable option to add the R2 zoning to allow semis. The lands would accommodate a semi-detached easily. They exceed the requirements for the semi-detached. The lots are significantly larger, and so the semis, there'll be lots of room to accommodate 2 units on each parcel. And there's no concerns from any of the commenting agencies on that approach. Public Works has no concerns as long as the holding is placed on the 2 remaining lots and one has the allocation to one. GRCA commented they have no concerns with the rezoning. However, as you can see from the mapping in front of you, there's the green area in the back, the rear. It's not shown on the subject lands. However, the GRCA regulated area does encroach onto the subject lands. So they want to ensure that the zoning is reflected, that their hazard area is reflected in the zoning as well. So we'll talk to them before we bring forward the final bylaw to make sure that we align with their regulated area that they want to see protected moving forward. And otherwise, there's no concerns with the proposal. As I said, it meets the conditions of the consent that were already approved and before council last year. And we think this is a great infill development with adding some nice density to Moorfield. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Now we'll hear from the Baker Planner Group. I think Caroline Baker is online with us. Caroline, for the
Good evening.
the owner.
Yes, good evening. You can hear me all right? Perfect. Good evening to the mayor and council. My name is Caroline Baker from Baker Planning Group. I'm the planning consultant to Sinclair Construction and filed this zone change application. Certainly appreciate staff and Ms. Redmond's assistance in getting to the public meeting. She was very thorough in her comments, so I don't want to take too much more of your time. Otherwise, to say that we are in agreement with staff's review, input, and comments in terms of the appropriateness of the planning framework leading to this application. As we're all well aware, the provincial planning statement and the official plan documents certainly direct greater efficiency and use of land in our settlement areas to contribute to a greater mix of housing, to protect prime agricultural land and efficient use of services. Just note, in my opinion, as included in the planning letter, in my view, this is a very modest opportunity for infilling, allowing for semi-detached units proximate to single detached dwelling units. They are of a similar built form and height. And as noted, all the lots actually well exceed the requirements in your zoning bylaw for semi-detached in terms of both frontage and lot area. And just also to note to the neighbors' comments, I appreciate they took the opportunity to review the file and write in Certainly, it would be the intent that any buildings constructed on these lots that have provisional approval for consent would be to comply with all the provisions. So that's lot coverage, building setbacks, and parking to ensure compatibility and meet the intent of the township. I'll leave my comments there, but certainly happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. And now we'll hear from those in attendance. Please indicate your name and address for the record. We'll first hear those in support of the zoning amendment. Anybody here wishing to speak in support of the zoning amendment? Anybody here wishing to speak in against the zoning amendment? Okay, questions from members of council then? Councilor Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do agree that on paper, it's a great idea, but I'm not sure if anyone's actually been there to do a site visit, because if you're in there in the spring at all, that's a massive floodplain down below. So to consider doing like I know we're kind of talking about the semis along Booth Street right now, but the lands down below, you know, to throw up a townhouse complex or something down there, you're going to be under 2 feet of water for a month of the year. So I'm really curious, because I do worry a little bit about the, is it a 9-meter frontage that's left on the retained parcel? Intensification is something we absolutely want, and we look for, and I know there's numerous people looking for opportunities within Mapleton, but I think the reality versus paper can be quite different, and I think that might be true for this parcel. So that's, you know, I'm led to believe that there's, you know, kind of ongoing conversations with the neighborhood about that retained parcel. I'm just curious if the planning department would have an update on the status of that.
Linda?
Thank you, Mayor. So at this point in time, there's no development proposed for that retained parcel. The owner is just trying to satisfy the conditions of consent so that the 3 lots up front on Booth Street can proceed with development. There will be an H placed on the retained land, so as well, the zoning currently is for a single-family dwelling. So in order to construct anything beyond that, they would be required to come back to council with their proposal. I'd also like to add that the GRC is very much involved in the circulation of the consents as well as the current application, and they are aware that there will be further applications. That's why they're getting involved now with their regulated area, and they want to ensure that it's mapped appropriately on those retained lands so that there is no development within their regulated area. So I'm going to assume that the area that you're speaking about that's flooded is probably within their regulated area. So they will have to keep a separation distance from there with anything going forward. With respect to the 9-meter frontage for the retained lands, that's already in place it went through the severance process. And 9 meters is an adequate frontage to allow access, and that's what we were looking for. I think the minimum would be 6 meters, so they're exceeding the required access size to get in the back. So I don't know what else to say about that. That I think we needed to deal with back at the time of severance if we had a concern with it. But at 9 meters, it's adequate to get in, have in and out traffic through there.
Thank you. Any follow-up, Councilor Martin?
No, so, sorry, so the landowner is specifically looking to do semis, that's his preferred option, but would he also consider just doing single detached?
For these 3 lots?
For these 3 lots that we're talking about?
The proposal in front of us is for 3 semi-detached, so I think we have to go with what's in front of us, not. Did you Linda, did you have any discussions with the landowner about doing singles, or was it always semi? Oh, sorry. Caroline, maybe you have that answer.
Well, through the mayor, if you don't mind, just to assist in terms of the intent of the property owner. So certainly the proposed zoning that's before you this evening does allow, in fact, both singles and semi-detached dwellings. So those would continue to be an option. My understanding in discussions both with the owner and municipal staff is looking for the opportunity where we can to have that modest infilling and intensification, but it doesn't remove the ability for a single. I would also note that, of course, with all the changes from the province, as I'm sure you're all aware, there are ARU permissions for not only this property, but all the properties on Booth Street to add ARUs. I did just want to note on the retained lands, I would agree with Ms. Redmond that the 9-meter frontage would allow both a driveway if it were a single, or if there was a common driveway, it would be more than sufficient in width. And we certainly have been in discussions with staff and GRCA to ensure full understanding of the floodplain. And I believe there's some steep slopes to the rear as well on this site. And there would be required studies and technical analysis before any development could be considered on that retained back piece that would, of course, have to be reviewed by staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Councillor, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mayor. Just a comment, really. The retained piece is a different kettle of fish, but I do think those 3 on the front is a good idea. We're looking always for ways to add attainable housing to our community, and this is going to provide housing eventually for 6 families, and I think it's a good idea. I drive by it frequently, and I always think something should be on this empty land, so I'm happy to see something proposed.
Thank you. Anything else from other council members? Councilor Martin?
Question for Public Works, if I may. With this type of intensification out along Booth Street, does that change the parameters? I know Mr. Cappers had talked about sidewalks not running out there. If we're going to start to do some infilling and intensification out there, what are the parameters that you look at for qualifiers for a sidewalk?
Through you, Mayor Davison. So the parameters on existing infrastructure, we don't really have any parameters we look at. We only look at new development like subdivisions and current sidewalks. This is the first time I've really ever heard of people interested in sidewalks out there, unless council has heard something before. But in a situation like that, we wouldn't look to put sidewalks out there. Yeah, it would be more in our new development standards for new, not infill lots.
But we have added sidewalks recently to Alma, extended their sidewalk out there.
To Mayor Davison, we haven't extended it yet. That was in discussion with the new development, which would be part of the subdivision agreement to extend it.
I was thinking the other direction that we did it. I could be wrong. I remember new sidewalks being put in place, maybe before you arrived, but I know we had put sidewalks in there. Amanda? So Councilor Reid, you had your hand up?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. I just wanted to also echo Marlene's statement, Councilor Otten's statement, that it's nice to see that we can possibly do an intensification in a lot like this. I do agree, driving past it, that I've wondered when something was going to get built there too. So it's nice to see that it could honestly house 6 families instead of just 3 or 2. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilor Martin, council could always direct staff to put in sidewalks if we wanted to budget for that in the future. That's something that's at our disposal. We can do that. Whether they fit that road size, then that's something that staff would have to come back for and decide for us. Anything further from council members? Any questions? Okay, this public meeting is now concluded. Thank you for attending the public meeting. I have Resolution 6.1, moved by Councillor Otten, seconded by Councillor Woodham. Township Mapleton Council received for information planning report ZBA 2025-09 dated December 9th, 2025 regarding part lots 1, 2, 3, lot 5, and part lot 20. King Survey 60R-1301 part 1 with 70-meter frontage on Booth Street East. And that council received for information the presentation and submission of Baker Planning Group as well. Any further questions from council members? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Moving on to our next item up, which we have delegations.
Should be a motion.
Sorry, Council, I go back to 6.1 for a minute because I do have another resolution. Moved by Councillor Woodham, second by Councillor Ottens, that Township Mapleton Council receive for information the two letters submitted, both opposed to the proposed zoning amendment, one from William Kappers and the other one from Ruth and Weeb Van Zool. All in favor? Carried. So 7.1, I do have a resolution here. The MPAC delegation is not going to be here. So 7.1 moved by Councillor Otten, second by Councillor Woodham. Township Mapleton Council postponed the delegation of MPAC regarding AgriCorp joint farm tax until the Mapleton Council meeting of January 27th, 2026 at 4 p.m. All in favor? That's carried. Now we're going to go to Chief Dewar and Rebecca Thaler from the paramedics. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council, and thank you for allowing me to introduce Rebecca Thaler. She is our Commander of Quality Assurance and Professional Standards, and she had the distinction of being assigned all of the preparations for preparing us for the changeover that we're talking about today. And that's months of work, educating our paramedics, preparing all the information, and working with our partners for what was a successful changeover last week. So my thanks to her. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today about this important change to our emergency response system, one that will directly impact how 911 calls are handled in Guelph and Wellington County. Starting last week, the Ontario Ministry of Health implemented the Medical Priority Dispatch System, or MPDS, at the Cambridge Central Ambulance Communication Centre. This change is part of the province's Your Health plan, aimed at ensuring paramedic services deliver the right care at the right time while helping to ease pressures on our emergency departments. So why the change? As you will have seen in our briefing note, MPDS is a proven software system used in over 35,000 ambulance communication centers across more than 46 countries. It helps dispatchers better determine which 911 calls need help first based on the severity of the medical condition. Whether it's a cardiac arrest, a severe allergic reaction, or unconsciousness, MPDS ensures that life-threatening emergencies receive the fastest and highest level of care possible. In the past, paramedics could be tied up responding to less urgent calls while someone in critical need waits. MPDS changes that. It better prioritizes the most urgent calls, giving paramedics the best chance to save lives. But the benefits go beyond faster response times. MPDS will reduce the needs for lights and sirens driving, improving safety for paramedics and for the public. It will also help us to make better use of emergency resources, something we know is vital in today's healthcare landscape. We want to assure you and your residents that less urgent calls will still be answered. If someone calls 911 for a sprained ankle, flu symptoms, or a broken bone without bleeding, they will still receive care. However, they may need to wait a little longer if paramedics are attending to more urgent cases. And if those conditions worsen while waiting, dispatchers will reprioritize calls and send help quicker. When someone calls 911, they'll notice a change. Dispatchers will ask more detailed questions to assess the urgency. Well, questions are quick, but critical. The more information callers provide, the better we can match them with the right help. And yes, they may be asked the same question more than once by dispatchers, paramedics, and other responders. This repetition doesn't delay care, it ensures accuracy and safety. Also, as mentioned in the report, the change in MPDS has impacted our arrangement with local fire departments on which medical calls they will assist us with. Our thanks to Chief Harrow for a great deal of work to sort through the new categories of calls to determine which are most appropriate for our fire peers to respond with us to. In closing, this change is about saving lives, improving safety, and making sure our paramedic services are used as effectively as possible. We know waiting for help can be stressful, and we want residents to know that every call matters. Our paramedics are committed to getting to you as quickly as possible, and MPDS will help us to do just that. Thank you for your time, and I welcome any questions you might have.
Thank you, Chief. Questions from council to the chief? Nothing, you guys did such a good job. So the program is now rolled out?
It started through Mr. Mayor, the program started last Tuesday night, and I think one call we had a little bit of a question about, but other than that, it's been extremely smooth, working really well. So
That's
quite
surprising, because usually something like that, there's a few hiccups along the way, and
happy. Hopefully you haven't jinxed it, Mr. Mayor.
I probably have. But that's not your problem, that's Rebecca's problem. Well, Councilor Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm familiar with how MPDS works in an urban center. The rural, not quite so much. I'm curious if you anticipate the ambulance staying more local as opposed to kind of shuttling down to Guelph or covering busier centers. So how does that affect Drayton specifically, or how would you anticipate any changes to the deployment?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, the deployment plan that we have dictates where ambulances move when other calls are going on. And it's changed slightly with the implementation of MPDS, but we are still moving ambulances to cover when calls go out. But simultaneously, we're looking at another system which might aid us with that, and it's a computerized system that looks at not just what calls are going on, but how far into that call the paramedics are, and that may adjust to the timing and allow us to leave resources in the communities that they're in. So we're looking forward to that.
Chief, would you say that our coverage for Mapleton is better today than it was, say, 5 years ago?
To you, Mr. Mayor, yes, we've added 12 hours of coverage within the last 5 years. The ambulance in Mapleton used to be a 12-hour day car, now runs 24 hours a day. Beyond that, in 2026, we have confirmed now with the budget passing in Guelph, we have plans to add a 12-hour day car in Minto Township, which will allow us to keep resources in Mapleton, sort of an indirect assistance that way. So yes, better than 5 years ago and improving in the future.
And the supervisors out of Drayton?
Mr. Mayor, they are, yes.
Right. And the community paramedicine is still out of Drayton?
They are.
So we still have quite a few vehicles here, and if need be, they can be deployed if they're in the area.
Drayton is the center of everything in Wellington County.
Yes, we know that. I'm glad you realize that, Chief. I know we realized it here for a long time, but we appreciate. Any other questions for the Chief? Really appreciate both of you coming here, and safe drives home.
Thank you.
The resolution here is moved by Councillor Ottens and seconded by Councillor Woodham. I'm going to speak real slow so Carl can fix that. That the Township of Mapleton Council received for information a delegation of Chief Stephen Dewar and Rebecca Thales, the Commander of Quality Assurance from the Guelph Wellington Paramedic Service regarding medical priority dispatch system. Any further questions? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Now we're going to move on to our next delegation, which is LINC, Love Your Neighborhood, Love Your Neighbor Communities. And Lori Langdon is here for LINC. Lori, welcome.
Thank you, everybody. Mr. Mayor and members of council, I appreciate this time that you've given us to do a presentation. Before I get started, I think Boris, our CEO, is joining us via Zoom too. He's here, okay, so can we run that video first, if that's all right? Appreciate it. There we go.
Love Your Neighbor Communities is a Canadian registered charity whose mission is to revitalize rural people and communities through equitable housing and social enterprise. As an organization, we wish to meet the needs of our neighbors for equitable and affordable housing, food security, social isolation, and environmental responsibility.
Love Your Neighbor Communities is about giving everyone an opportunity to live in a beautiful space and to feel like they belong in this community.
LINK is a grassroots organization bringing together a strong team of local professionals who are passionate about strengthening their community and addressing the need for rural housing affordability.
Revitalizing rural communities will take a three-pronged approach: economic development, equitable housing, and community living.
At LINK, we're trying to create a model that's future-proof and sustainable to have space to live.
LINK takes a very holistic view on the housing crisis. Our plan is not to build an apartment building, but to build a community and a home. Social connection is as essential to humanity as food, water, or shelter. Humans have historically needed to rely on each other for survival, and modern people remain wired for connection with others.
We will create programs that will actually bring people together, whether it be our community gardens, whether it be having meals in our community kitchen, having children staying in the child care center. The idea is to actually involve people in one another's lives so that they can share together, that they can support one another.
LINK is committed to working with the communities where our developments will be located. Not only are we interested in actually helping people thrive, but we really want to contribute to the downtowns and the cores of the communities where our developments are going to be located. So much so that we're leaving the main floor area to be developed into community spaces where social enterprise and other community groups can get involved and support the downtown core.
Our homes will strive to be energy efficient and carbon neutral. We will achieve this by meeting the features of building development, using renewable energy and water conservation.
We want our building to be sustainable. We want to incorporate environmental awareness and energy efficiency into all parts of the building and building systems, so that not only is it economical to operate, but it's also environmentally conscious as well.
LINK is looking for supporters who want to see solutions to issues such as housing affordability, loneliness, social isolation, and food insecurity. Please visit our website or contact us to donate or volunteer.
Thank you. So yeah, my name is Laurie Langdon. I'm chairman of the LINK Drayton advisory team. We started meeting probably a couple of years ago now, and kind of discussing the options that could be available. At the same time, we were able to connect with this organization called LINK, Love Your Neighbor Communities, and Boris is here. He'll come on in a few minutes to share with us. We're just here today to introduce Love Your Neighbor Communities to this community. And some of you may have seen the float on Friday night. Yeah, Friday night and Saturday night. So that's what we're here for today. So here's a thought. What if we created a community that was intentionally interconnected, a community that was intergenerational, diverse, and also sustainable? And what if you could actually afford to live in such a community? That's our goal. So here's LINK's vision: to create beautiful spaces where intergenerational communities will thrive. And our mission is also to revitalize people and add to the existing rural communities through equitable housing and social enterprise. So there's a three-pronged approach to our concept. The first one is community living. This means caring for each other and the earth around us. Also, the second is economic development. This is a commitment to improving rural towns where our communities are located. And the third is equitable housing, incorporating the values of inclusion and equal access to opportunity. Now, this is actually a picture rendering of the exterior of a concept that we had. This was something we were thinking about earlier this year, and it may still happen, but this is a 24-unit building with a common area on the main floor. And this one in particular is designed to be built on a half acre, which is pretty cool, and that includes all the parking as well. So that's just an idea of what we're looking at to do here in Drayton. Of course, many of us struggle with the cost of living and housing and affordability. We have young families, college, university graduates entering the workforce, employees who want to live near where they work, seniors who want to age in their communities, those who live in unsafe or inadequate housing, and people struggling with maybe potential change. There's a few insights for Drayton that we've picked up. Already in 2021, there was a high proportion of 4 or more person households, couples with children, and households maintained by those aged 65 years and older, indicating a strong need for family-sized housing and housing to support aging in place. Also, there was in 2023, there was one rent-geared to income building in Drayton, indicating that a need for increased supply of affordable housing within the Drayton community. And the third point here is that the population is increasing, as we all know, with a high proportion of intra-provincial migrants. Of those moving into Drayton, 60% are from elsewhere in Ontario, and indicating an increased demand for housing supply, and of course a need for a local service and support system. This is a summary of all the amenities that Drayton can offer. Drayton is an ideal spot for it, and it fits ideally with Link's vision. We have grocery store, pharmacies, neighborhood parks, community center and schools, a variety of churches, a public library and childcare center, healthcare services, and a hospital close by, and also an area with job and growing job opportunities in the area, like a business district, community strip, and industrial site. So what's happened over the last couple of years, a group of people have come together as a group of like-minded community members, and we're all motivated by the same desire to start a conversation around what we can do to address some of these struggles. So the result is that a vision has grown to create a community that is intentionally interconnected, big words, intergenerational. That means from young single parent families to senior citizens, and also all those in between. Some would be marginal, some struggle with living fully independently, but they need their own space. So the result is that this vision has come about, and affordable is the big one. A healthy, equitable, and hope-filled community where everyone feels they belong. So I would like to introduce to you the members of this advisory team. The first one, guess who? Marlene Otten, she's joined us. She's been a very great asset. Marlene is a lifetime resident of Mapleton Township, committee member on the Palmerston Hospital Gala, Tulip Festival, and Drayton 150, minor hockey executive, leader of the Moorfield Brownies, in-school mentor for Big Sisters, Sunday school teacher for 40 years, currently involved, she's been busy, currently involved with 100 Women Who Care, Mapleton Historical Society, the Horticultural Society, and an 11-year member of the Mapleton Council. And she joined Link, and this is her comment, because she could see that a great need was not being filled and wanted to help find a solution. And thanks, Marlene, for your service here. Patty DeRose, actually Patty's with us as well. Patty grew up near Glen Allen and attended Drayton Senior Public School and graduated Elmira District Secondary School. Patty's married to Mike, who worked at J.M. Snyder's for 37 years. She's been a stay-at-home mom, and when their 2 children were through school, her and Mike returned to the family farm and then moved to Drayton in 2005. Patty says that she treasures the connection made here and would like to help make it possible for others to share the experience of living in a kind, caring community. So this is Patty right here. Another member of our community, you might know him already, is Jerry Robus. Jerry moved to Canada from the Netherlands with his family when he was 6 years old. And Jerry's been a member of Mapleton for 44 years, except for a brief time he went to Elora as a newlywed with his wife, Mariska. And now together they have raised 4 adult children. and are now proud grandparents. Jerry co-owns and manages a heavy civil construction company, creating the infrastructure on which our community is based. His company recently has branched off into land development, and in his spare time, he enjoys woodworking, creating forests, sailing, and spending time with his family. So that's Jerry. The other member of our family, you might know her already, is also a longtime resident of Drayton, Lori Spallin. She's lived here all her life. And her husband and her have been operating their own construction company here for 39 years. They've raised 4 children and has 8 grandchildren. Currently, she's a realtor in the area and an EA in one of our schools, president of the Rotary Club of Drayton. And her passion being people, she says she joined the LINK team because she feels the need to do our best to accommodate every person of every group possible in our community. So there's Lori Spalling. David McCauley, some of you know David already. David actually attended public and high school in Drayton. He received his Bachelor of Environmental Studies and Architectural degrees from the University of Waterloo in 1974. He led a group of local students to renovate and rejuvenate the Drayton Opera House and designed the Drayton Community Health Center in 1972 as well. He practiced architecture in Drayton until moving to Guelph in '82. He has 50 years designing buildings. It involves over 500 churches, healthcare facilities, schools, and environmentally sustainable homes. Now he's semi-retired, he says. He works on now co-housing, senior small care homes, and social housing projects. So that's David McCauley. Edith, my best half, she's here with me tonight. Edith was born in a German immigrant family in Port Colborne, Ontario, and she married me. We've been together for 44 years. We have 2 married daughters and 5 grandkids. She's lived and run a sewing business in Drayton for 27 years. That's how long we've been here. And she's built many, many meaningful relationships. And her heart is, she maintains a strong desire to make housing available and attainable to the people who need it in our community. So that's Edith.
Laurie, if I'm just going to stop you there. We have the next 2, but if you want Boris to speak, we're running out of time, so this would be a good time for Boris to speak.
Okay, all right, well, I'm done. Okay, good. Okay, I'll give it over to Boris then.
Perfect, thank you. Shall we play the Jeopardy music? Waiting for Boris to get on.
Hi, Boris. There should be something popping up on your Zoom meeting to enter the panelist room.
Okay, sorry about that. I think I'm in now.
Thanks, Boris. Go ahead.
Thank you. Sorry, I'll be very, very quick because Lori's done a great job of covering. The only thing I want to emphasize is what was asked by one of the councillors to the previous presenters is how is this going to work in rural communities? And I want to emphasize that LINK is all about rural communities. We're about creating if I can use the term, a product that fits our rural communities, not taking something from the city and bring it to our rural communities, but fitting something taking something from our rural communities, and that's why our membership are made up of individuals in the community. And part of our work at Link is to prepare the ground to make sure that if we do build a community as we're proposing here in Drayton, that we have the support to make it sustainable financially. And we've already done a lot of that groundwork. Many of you may be aware of the DCH, which is now online for the Canada federal funding. A lot of the emphasis behind that, such as being rural community-based, being mixed income, are things that we've been advocating with the ministers responsible for that, and feel that we've done a great job of getting their attention for rural communities that way. We also have put together, or started to put together, a financial group that would be able to help to assist in a project like this. We have very strong support in Link as a whole from Edge Mutual, and they're very excited about a project being built in Drayton, and I know they're going to be, as well as others, are going to be looking forward to supporting a project like this in any way. So we began to do that groundwork. We're excited. We thank the mayor and on Manny for the instructions and guidance they've given to us. They've been very, very supportive and very, very provided a lot of information so that we can make some great decisions in regards to what we're doing here in Drayton. And so we're excited about this possibility, and we'd encourage you guys all to really grasp the vision of doing something for the community for those who are having trouble finding appropriate living quarters that they can afford. Thank you.
Thank you, Boris. We have questions from council then? Councilor Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can I address the delegate or, okay. A question, I guess. Two questions. So I'm curious about, for you, Mary, perhaps Lori, you know, the motivation for like a faith-based organization to get into this space, like affordable housing, you know, the environmental responsibility, food security, those types of things. Granted, those are all needs in communities. I'm just curious the motivation for your organization to try and get into that space. So kind of what's in it for you, and then in reverse, what are you looking for from us?
Did you want to respond to that, Boris? Go ahead.
Well, sure, I'd love to respond to that. In regards to what's in it for us, and I think for the entire team in Drayton as well as for the Link Board, is doing, since you mentioned faith-based, is doing what God has called us to do, which is really to care for our neighbors. This is just a very practical way of meeting the needs of our neighbors and demonstrating the love that we feel that we should be sharing with those around us. It's as simple as that. And what do we expect back from the council? Really, we are looking for your support. Link has made it one of our conditions, part of our strategic plan, is that we don't go into a community unless the township, that the council, those who are involved in the political leadership and the social leadership of the community is supportive of a project. And so that's what we're looking for first and foremost from the council, is that you be supportive, that you actually see the need in your community, and that you also desire to address this need.
That answer your question, Councilor Martin? Okay. Councilor Reid.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. I'm just wondering, I'm not sure who to direct this through, hopefully the delegate. Have you guys looked at any opportunities for land currently in the Drayton area?
Yeah. Do you want to do that, Boris?
Yeah, yes, we have actually. We've looked at several land possibilities in the Drayton area. Part of our desire is to build something that's sustainable, so we do not want to get into something that's so expensive that it becomes unsustainable. And so we're being very, very careful with that. We've looked at several, as I said, several opportunities, and they have not worked out to date, but we're very active in that process.
Thank you. Other questions from council? Thank you very much for the delegation.
Thank you.
All right. Resolution moved by Councillor Woodham, seconded by Councillor Martin, that Township Mapleton Council receive for information a delegation of Link, Love Your Neighbor Communities, Drayton, regarding an introduction to the organization and the team members of Link Drayton. Any further questions? All in favor? That's carried. I move on around to the Maitland Valley Conservation Authority. I think we have Phil Beard online.
We do.
Hi, Phil.
Good evening, Mayor Davidson, members of council. If I could ask Carl to bring up our presentation, I can see it's just coming up here. So unfortunately, your representative on our board, Ed Podnowitz, couldn't make it this evening, so you'll have to put up with me. I'm going to give you an overview of the changes that the province is proposing to conservation authorities and some of the concerns that we have with the proposal. And I believe the clerk has handed out a copy of our full comments. So if I could have the next slide, please, Carl. Thank you. The key changes they're making is they have created, with the passage of Bill 68, the Ontario Provincial Conservation Agency. And I'll go over the details of what it's going to do in the next slide. And the second thing they're doing is consolidating the existing 36 conservation authorities into 7 regional conservation authorities. Next slide, please. So the province is saying the reason they're making these changes is because there's a patchwork of standards and a patchwork of service delivery, that we have outdated fragmented systems, that there's administrative duplication, and that there's a need for accountability and transparency. Next slide, please. So the Ontario Provincial Conservation Agency would be responsible for developing a digital permitting platform. So all of the permits under our regulations from across the province would go through one platform that this agency would create. So it would be equivalent to having all the building permits in the province going through one platform. It's also going to be responsible for streamlining and standardizing service delivery, setting provincial performance standards, maintaining centralized data and updated floodplain mapping, and of course, overseeing the consolidation of conservation authorities. Next slide, please. So the regional conservation area that the province is going to put us in would be with the Sauble Bayfield, which is down in the Grand Bend area, would go all the way up to Owen Sound, across to Lake Simcoe, and then across to Thunder Bay for the Lakehead region, CA. That would all be one conservation authority. Next slide, please. So the province is currently commenting or asking for comments on the regional groupings that they're doing. They're actually doing their consultation right now in December. They want to get it finished as quickly as possible. And conservation authorities will operate with the current governance system until basically election day in October 2026. After that, the boards would all be dissolved, and we're not sure what the new boards would look like. And they want all these changes in place by January 1st, 2027. Next slide, please. So some of the concerns that Maitland Valley's members have identified is there's been no feasibility assessment of this proposal. There's no business case for it. If you think back to the consolidation that was done around health units, the Ministry of Health required a feasibility study to be done before they would approve any consolidation. In other words, the feasibility assessment had to show that there would be benefits and that the mergers would be beneficial to all parties. That hasn't been done with this proposal. And how do you establish a governance model, which in our region would encompass 80 municipalities? How do you have meaningful representation on a governance board? And with all the headquarters being in cities, our headquarters would probably be in Newmarket. The needs of rural communities and agricultural sector will be lost, in our opinion. And the permitting response time going to a single digital platform would probably increase. Right now, we're able to issue permits within 5.7 business days. And we don't see how another layer of bureaucracy would speed that up at all. Next slide, please. So what our members are saying is what we really need from the province is a renewed relationship that's developed collaboratively, focused on restoring healthy and resilient watersheds. Next slide, please. So on the environmental registry, the province is asking 4 questions from anybody who would like to respond to this proposal. And all the questions are geared to this moving forward. So they want to know what the key factors are to support a successful transition and outcome. And our members are commenting saying, you're not going to be able to determine that until you do a feasibility assessment. And you also won't know what the opportunities or benefits will be until you do a feasibility assessment. Next slide, please. And of course, the last 2 questions are around how do you maintain a transparent and consultative budgeting process across 80 member municipalities? And how can you maintain and strengthen relationships with local communities and stakeholders when you have a regional conservation authority of that size? And we don't think that it's possible to be able to do that once you go to that size. And the last slide, please. And that's just where you can send your comments. So that's the presentation. Mayor Davidson, I'd be happy to try and answer any questions that council may have.
Thanks, Phil. Thank you for giving us the update on this consolidation. That certainly is worrisome for rural councils, probably right across Ontario. Our voice is going to be lost when it gets consolidated with big cities. And certainly when you have 80 communities and most of those are small communities, the big cities certainly always take over. And of course, the other concern is the cost. What's it going to cost our local community members who are paying for this? Is it going to be the same or is it going to increase? I'm a little worried that it's going to increase. When you get that big, ends up being bigger budgets. So a little bit concerned about that and taking it out of the smaller controls that we currently have and more say in what we currently have. So certainly some concerns on our end. Council members, comments? Councilor Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Mr. Beard, you mentioned about your one bullet point was, needs of rural communities and agricultural sector will be lost. From people I talk to, one of the worries are that with this kind of amalgamation of all the conservation authorities that, there may be less attention to detail. And, it was one of the concerns I heard about one of our planning applications earlier tonight that, there will be less teeth with the Conservation Authority, less attention to detail, all skewed in favor of development. Is that a sentiment that the local Conservation Authority would echo as well, that there'd be less ability to actually protect the watersheds and the things that you are essentially built to protect right now?
Yeah, with the current regional model, you're really just distancing yourself from the people you serve. You're getting further and further away. That's the concern we have. So if you look at the Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority, they have a budget of $30 million. The other 6 CAs combined wouldn't even get to $20 million. So, you can see where the power would come from, or the what would drive the interests of the regional CA.
Yeah, major concern for us, and losing that oversight for, you say, the planning and response to any planning applications and things like that, and I don't see how consolidating it and going on one platform and going to one consolidated area is going to, for that many municipalities, is going to improve the timeline. I think it's going to go, as you said, a longer process for us, and the red tape is, the reduction is actually a red tape increase for us. Could be a little longer for our team to get things done when we have to wait on the larger conservation authorities that are coming down the pipe. Other questions, other comments? Councillor Ottens?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Yeah, I would just comment on that too. I realize that Mr. Beard is here representing the Maitland Conservation Authority, but Mapleton's mostly in the Grand River one. And I already feel like Mapleton is sometimes a tiny little cog in that wheel, much less in the Maitland one. So I can't imagine when I see the map of how they want to redistribute this, like we're just going to disappear. Our concerns are going to, pun intended, we're just going to be a drop in the bucket for all of these conservation authorities when they're that large. And I really don't understand what problem they're trying to solve. Whenever someone makes a big administrative change like this, I think, what problem are you trying to solve? And I don't see that this is doing that at all.
That's the question we're all asking as well. On top of that, they're saying that the conservation authorities will have to pay for the Ontario Provincial Conservation Agency as well.
Of course they will. And where does that money come from? Yeah, okay. Thank you, Phil. I don't think there's any other questions here. I really appreciate you coming online with us today.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Resolution here, I have a couple for council. The resolution moved by Councillor Otten, seconded by Councillor Woodham. Township Mapleton Council received for information delegation of Maitland Valley Conservation Authority Phil Beard, the General Manager and Secretary Treasurer, regarding proposed changes to the Conservation Authority system. Any other comments or questions? All in favor? It's carried. And the second resolution I have is moved by Councillor Woodham, seconded by Councillor Ottens, that Township Mapleton Council received for information the supplemental 7-page submission from Maitland Conservation Phil Beard, General Manager, Secretary Treasurer, dated November 27, 2025, regarding the proposed consolidation of conservation authorities, including the cover page, outline, and preamble to the MVCA response, proposed consolidation of conservation authorities, and 3, the maps on page 5 to 7. Any comments or questions on that? All in favor? It's carried. Next delegation, we have Rocco Fondacara, the resident of Moorfield, and he's coming to talk to us about neighbors discharging firearms. Rocco, please take the podium.
You're welcome. Mayor Davidson, members of council, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate the time on your agenda today. My name is Rocco Fondacaro. I live on Wellington Road 11, northeast of Drayton. I'd just take a few minutes of your time this evening to summarize the formal request that I submitted several weeks back. Safety is the key issue. We live in an agricultural zoned area of small acre properties on Wellington Road 11 between Concession Road 12 and around the corner at Wellington Road 7, going northwest towards Rothsay, that whole block. These properties share boundary lines and are similar in width, about 60 meters, with varying depths, mostly around 400 meters. As such, might sound weird, but our homes are relatively close to each other. Once or twice a year, individuals will discharge firearms on their property. The shooting is repetitious and can last up to 30 or 40 minutes. It is apparently for recreation and not for isolated farm purposes such as pest control. It is irresponsible, even reckless, to discharge firearms where homes are in such close quarter. Charts from the RCMP Firearms Safety Handbook presented in the formal request show that if unobstructed, projectiles from rifles, shotguns, handguns can travel distances that easily exceed the widths and depths of our properties. Any bullets that go astray, by accident or otherwise, could seriously or tragically injure people or animals. Several neighbors actually bring their children in, and their pets and livestock, when there is prolonged shooting going on. In the past, neighbors who have spoken with shooters have not been successful in stopping the activity, and police have difficulty helping in the absence of any regulations or bylaws for residential areas outside of the town limits. My request of council is to consider and implement solutions that will deter, restrict, or prohibit recreational shooting in rural areas like ours, where residences are in close quarters. Some options may be fines sufficient to deter shooting, limits on caliber, size, or type of projectile, or regulations or bylaws to restrict or prohibit discharging firearms. I'll stop there. Thank you again for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Rocco. Questions for the delegation? Councilor Woodham?
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Actually, it'll just be a question, I think, more to our staff. I'm just wondering, or do we have any kind of bylaw that would give the police some teeth? And then maybe in my second question, could we perhaps request some legal opinion on it? I understand. Where I live, I have had to call the police before too, because people were shooting guns onto our property. And it's scary. It really is. So I'm just wondering, A, if we do have something, or other townships in Wellington County have something in place that we could borrow maybe?
Mr. Barron?
Through your worship, no, I'm not aware of any bylaws that we have, but I'd be happy to look into it and seek legal advice at the direction of council, yeah.
I believe that's appropriate, that being if we don't have any bylaws, to seek legal advice on this. Michelle?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Davidson. I believe through the Municipal Act, the township has the ability to put a bylaw in place, and other places I know, such as Woolwich, does have bylaws for that purpose. So we can certainly look into that for you and come back with a report if you wish.
Thank you. I think that's what Councilor Woodham is asking for, is a report back from staff to let us know of other communities that have a bylaw and legal advice on what would be most appropriate for us. But so, thank you. Anybody else have a question for the delegate while he's here? Thank you very much, sir, for coming.
Thank you very much.
So I'll read council the resolution that's currently in front of us, and it's moved by Councilor Woodham, second by Councilor Ottens. Township Mapleton Council received for information the delegation of Rocco Fondacara regarding the discharge of firearms in close proximity to their family home. Do we have a motion to amend, Councilor Woodham, to have staff, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. So as Councilor Woodham had suggested, have staff investigate other communities and legal advice. So he's moving that as a motion to amend. Do we have a seconder for motion to amend? Councilor Ottens, thank you. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing no discussion on the amendment, I'll call the question on the amendment to the motion. All in favor of the amendment? That's carried. And then I'll call the question on the entire resolution then. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. As amended, we'll look into it, sir. Thank you. Moving on to item 8.1. We have here moved by Councilor Ottens, second by Councilor Woodham, the minutes of the County of Wellington Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting September 4th, 2025, we received for information as circulated in the agenda. Any questions on that? All in favor? That's carried. Next, we have the building report, ultimate limitation period for building permits. Mike Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is a Supreme Court decision that every building department in Ontario has been monitoring for the last 2 years, and it was just settled last month. So the background on this is that the Township of McMurray-Monteith, which is a northern municipality, issued a building permit. There were deficiencies. They issued an order, and then whether or not the order was complied with is in dispute, but the township argued when a new owner moved in and sued them that 15 years had elapsed, and therefore the ultimate limitation period said that a township is no longer liable. The summary judgment judge decided that township was liable to monitor every building permit indefinitely. So that wasn't great. The OBOA actually achieved an intervenor status in the appeals court case, which to my knowledge they've never done before or even attempted to do before. And the Court of Appeals threw everything out, said limitations of period applies, and then the plaintiff appealed to the Supreme Court of Canada, who just last month denied to hear the case. So for us, that means that any building permit that is 15 years old and has not been active for 15 years, the township no longer has any legal liabilities should there be deficiencies in anything or orders issued that were never complied with. It's basically just, washing the slate clean. So the building department is suggesting that every permit that has been inactive for that time be considered closed now. So do you guys have any questions about this?
The resolution I have here is moved by Councillor Martin, second by Councillor Woodham. The Township of Mapleton Council received for information Building Department Report BD 2025-13 regarding the ultimate limitation period of building permits, and that staff be directed to close all building permits that have been inactive for 15 years or more. Questions from council on this? Councillor Ottens.
Yes, through you, Mayor. To the building official, how many would that be for Mapleton approximately? How many permits would that involve?
So we began digital tracking of permits in 2006, and since then we have approximately 2,000 open permits. Of those 2,000, around 600 are still open that are 15 years or older. And then our historical records in our file room, everything in there would be older than 15 years. I estimate that about 30% of all permits are never closed. So if you go back 20 years times 30% of 300 permits, there's probably another 1,500 to 2,000 permits in the file room that still open. Most of them are at final stage, missing engineers reports. So basically closed, but not officially.
Mike, we want a more accurate number. Can you go count those for us?
Well, it took me 2 years to compile that data, so I'll get back to you when I'm 65.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Thank you. Other questions? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. And we have the building report for the month end. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. November, another good month for the building department. Still the same farm carrying us through the year. It's they're 2/3 of this fee collection for this year. So yeah, we brought in another $53,000, thanks to the one farm mostly, and we're still rolling.
Okay, the resolution moved by Councillor Woodham, second by Councillor Martin. The Township of Mapleton Council received for information Building Department Report BD 2025-14 dated December 9th, 2025 regarding permit activity for the month of November. Any questions on this? All in favor? It's carried. Moving on to Economic Development and Culture Days 2025. Amy.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I wanted to just take a few minutes to give you some highlights from our Culture Days for 2025. So some background information. Culture Days is an annual national celebration that invites communities to explore crafts, arts, and creativity through free, hands-on events that happen throughout the country. And so we were really excited. If you recall at our 2024 annual report, Culture Days was something that we made a promise to you. We were going to provide some more opportunities. We looked at what we did in 2024 and thought we can do this better, we can do more. We only offered 6 events, and our goal was to double the amount of events, and this year we actually hosted 16 events. So Ali and Michaela, our summer student, worked really hard and diligently to make this happen, and so I will run you through just a quick show of what happened. So the library is always a great partner during Culture Days. They offered 3 events, craft and paper quilling, collaborative puzzles, which was a lot of fun. People were able to come in and continue adding to the puzzle, eventually creating a masterpiece by working together collaboratively as a community, and also exploring Asian cuisine. Next slide. So we had 2 floral bouquet events this year. They always sell out. This year we were happy to include Blooms on Main with our floral events, and we were grateful that Mapleton Acres joined again. So we had a couple opportunities to pick your own bouquet with Mapleton Acres, and pumpkin pot bouquets done at Blooms on Main, which sold out very quickly. People were very excited to do that. Next event. So we offered some family events as well. Plant a Daffodil Trail down our trail here in Drayton, which was fantastic, where Councillors Woodhams and Councillor Ottens were a big part of making that happen. And we also had a quick change of events due to weather with Mapleton Organics, but everyone was still happy, and we shifted from some pumpkin activities into barn tours and some other activities that happened there. And Councillor Ottens offered a Mapleton's Corniest Day, where we had lots of activities happen. It was all corn-themed celebration with crafts, corn maze, cornhole, and it was, from what I have heard, a highlight of the event. So thank you. Next. We did offer some opportunities for senior yoga and beginner yoga as well. Next slide. And some opportunities for fitness, so line dancing, the Meltdown Mom Fitness, and workouts with staff. So we were happy to bring those forward for everyone. And of course, we needed to celebrate Drayton in 2025. As we all know, Glenys dedicated an immense amount of time to the book she created for the Drayton 150. And at the theater, she was able to present the behind-the-scenes look at that journey to creating the book. And so we were grateful for her participation in that. And then the Pretty Penny offered a Love Local shopping weekend experience where they had treats. They offered discounts and a bunch of different goods from different vendors in the community. So it was great for her to participate as a small business. Next slide. And this year we had the Drayton Festival Theater participate. They offered 3 different sessions. One was for kids, so they got to learn about playful musical expressions. Another was for families, so multi-generational classes exploring theater, so movement, rhythm, imagination. And then they also did show tunes, which was an adult-only experience. Next slide. So we were really excited to offer a record number of events with a record number of attendees, and we're looking forward to what 2026 will bring. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. The resolution I have, moved by Councillor Martin, second by Councillor Woodham. The Township Mapleton Council received for information Economic Development Report ED 2025-06 regarding Culture Days 2025. And that Council received for information the staff presentation entitled 2025 Culture Days. Amy, amazing work by the team to put these Culture Days together, and I know they were attended, they were sold out. I didn't go to yoga or anything like that. I remember going the first year they had a karate one. I got tossed across a room, so a little bit worried about that stuff. So, but definitely the people that went to these, they enjoyed them. They were excited by it, and they're just great work by the team to put that together. So appreciate it.
Thank you. I'll be sure to pass that along to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything from council? All in favor? It's carried. Moving on to 9.3, which we have environmental sustainability, and Mr. Martin Tamlin.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor and Council. As promised at the last council meeting, I was to bring a staff report as a follow-up to the presentation made by Caitlin Lynch from the GRCA on the Drayton Flood Damage Assessment Report. So what I'll just do an overview of just a few key points, and then if there's any questions at the end. So within that report, it was, Drayton has historically experienced flooding, and then within this last 10 years, the village has experienced 4 sizable floods, and one of note was the flood of June 2017. In February 18, there was a flood, a 1 in 20-year event. January 2020, a 1 to 10 and 1 in 20 event, and in June 2023, again, a 1 in 25 year to 1 in 50 event. So all within a span of 10 years, there was 4 events above a 1 in 10 year event. The climate projections for the Conestoga sub-watershed are in, call for an increase in frequency and intensity of precipitation. So wetter winters and springs, drier summers would often increase rainfall intensity. The flood report that was presented recommended a dike extension, and some of these drawings had gone back to even to the mid-80s. That would reduce the number of affected buildings in the village of Drayton by 95%, and reduction in damages of 75%. So anywhere with these flood events, there's damages range from $350,000 to roughly $10 million in damages. In that report, it was also some suggestions made for a dike extension to build on the dike that was put in the mid-80s at the estimated high-level cost of $4.3 million. It was also recommended that a detailed feasibility study be conducted to explore potential dike alignments, drainage, green infrastructure, and climate resilience, and include an environmental assessment with public engagement as key to that process. To help fund such a large project as this, there are several funding opportunities and free consultation services available to us. In consultation with some of these agencies, to access these reports, it was required for council to formally prioritise the need for a flood abatement project in the village of Drayton through either a resolution or inclusion in the 10-year budget forecast. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Martin Tamlin. I'm pretty happy to see this report coming. I was happy to see the report from GRCA last meeting, and then your report now. It was 2019, I think, Mr. Barron, that you and I did a walk on the current dike with GRCA after emergency management meeting. We went down there and we did a little tour, and we talked about, the need to have that dike extended. We walked the area, and it's been a long time in fruition to get to this point. A lot of conversations had with the GRCA, and very happy to see it here, and not so happy that we have to find the money for it. I thought that would be something the conservation authorities would have to figure out, but we can do that, and this is super important to protect our downtown community of Drayton. It's going to assist our fire department as well. They do a lot of going out and notifying every time there's a potential flood, which is every spring, and sometimes in the wintertime we've had to go out there and notify those in level 1 and so on. So this would be a huge assistance to our community. Questions from council? Councillor Ottens.
Yes, thank you. Through you, Mayor. It says in the report that there's a public information meeting in Grand Valley. They're doing something similar. Is that something that you recommend we go to for information? My main concern about this whole project is access to what's on the other side of the dike. Like, how is that gonna work? And if this community is doing something similar, I would be interested to see. Is that?
Yeah. So as part of the class environmental assessment for flood remediation, the public engagement or public information centres are an essential part of that. In the report that was done and funded by the disaster mitigation funding, included the communities of Grand Valley and Waldemar as well, because they're also upstream from a flood management dam like Conestoga Lake. So I'm not quite sure where they are in their process, but I know it would be really useful for us to see what those information centres look like. There's also opportunity to discuss flood preparedness, flood-proofing basements, also the kind of the communications. I think what Mr. Harrow brought to the meeting the last meeting as well, as far as the Community Connect as well, in ways of promoting that as well. So it'd be interesting to see how that's framed. As far as the question that came up with the access to the agricultural grounds with the proposed alignment, within the drawings, that was one alignment, and there are others. So the reason for a detailed feasibility study will to look at all the possible options and also kind of upstream effects and other measures that can be implemented.
We're just going to build a big dike, and at the road access, it's going to be a big hump, and that'd be a speed hump, right? Make the province happy, and if we get money from the province to having a speed hump there going into the agricultural grounds. Yeah. Mr. Kelly, do you have anything to add on this at all with the funding part and how we're going to?
Sure, through you, Mayor Davidson. So I did explain it to, I almost called him Councillor, Mr. Tamlin, that it would be treated similar to the arena retrofit project. So that's in our capital forecast. It helps when you're applying for any funding to say, hey, look, we have it in our capital forecast. It is a priority. But as far as the project itself, it's highlighted and asterisks and everything possible to make sure every council understands that those projects don't move ahead if we don't find external funding. We don't have that level of funding just sitting around available, so it would need to find external funding.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kelly, on that. Anything further from council? Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. That carried. Moving on to 9.41 is 2025 Information Technology Outcomes Summary. That's Carl.
I cloned myself so I could be in two places at once, but he ran away when he saw everything I did. So information technology outcomes for 2025. A little AI tomfoolery on the opening image. It's a bit of a blend of where we live. And if the farmers can start doing this, I'd be happy. Bring the cost of PC and RAMs down. But our community is technically savvy. We may be an agricultural community, but it is technically very savvy, and it's reflected in the productivity that we see in it today. A little background on some of the pillars of this department in the township. We coined a little phrase here, thanks Patrick, technology that works where we live, and we live in Mapleton. And our target is to have stability, security, and support, and also to have a strategy for the future. Because without that, you're going to go in many different directions and get nowhere really fast. And we'll touch on a little bit of that as we go through here. How did we get here? Back in 2024, the township was run primarily by a third-party managed service provider. There were a few issues that came up that left us dead in the water for a day or so. And so after the hire of our CFO, an IT service level was approved for the 2025 budget. And in January of 2025, your IT manager began. After a brief period of onboarding, basically getting familiar with all the background systems that go on here, we rolled up the sleeves. We started taking a look at how things really were operating and assessed where there were perhaps some shortfalls, and then began fixing them. Along with that, we began all the projects for 2025. Return on investment. The image and graph on the left-hand side was provided by our managed service provider. This is their ticketing system. And you'll notice that in January, something happened. And then in February, that happened even harder. Notice it stops. Well, in March, they didn't get any tickets. And since then, they've only had a few tickets, and they're from me. So it's only when I can't solve it that they get a ticket. So the results were very quick to be seen of having in-house IT. It's not a puffing of the chest here. That's the result of having in-house, because you have immediate assistance available to your users. The one on the right-hand side was one of the results of our assessments. We renegotiated the contract with the managed service provider. That results in the first drop. And then the other drops that came were as a result of reviewing our licenses and PC usage within the township. And with each one of those assessments, we brought costs down. So we have come down about $30,000 for a year as a result of all those assessments and renegotiations. Projects for 2025, as approved by council, some of these, and some were added in addition as we saw there was a need to do so. The firewalls were replaced, network hardware such as switches and wireless access points. The PMD arena was found to be not aligned well with the rest of the township, and it actually had some security risk. So we added it to this setup, and the Parks Operations Center was brought online to our networks, and working with Jim and Jamie, it now has the same security systems, and the pass cards for the doors were enabled in that location. Continuing on with the projects, we began cleaning up the room down below us, the network hardware area, the server room as some call it. The gentleman in the picture there is the most OCD cabling guy I have ever known, and he doesn't let anything slide, and so he tidied everything up, and that helps you when there's a problem, because now you know when a wire goes from here to there, you know exactly what that wire is doing. We enabled multi-factor authentication. We're almost complete with that project, and that will bring us more in alignment with getting cybersecurity insurance and, of course, securing all of our data. Council chamber AV updates. Well, we have these bright new big TVs. We moved some of the equipment around. However, as you can hear tonight, we still have some problems, and that will show in our 2026 projects as well. Server maintenance and assessments were also done. Other things that we did, we renegotiated the contract with the managed service provider. We did security updates. We're decommissioning the tower out at the PMD. It's unsafe, and so we've been slowly removing the individuals that have been using and the services that are on that tower. And you'll notice one there called Too Big for Email. It's literally that. It's for files that are too big for email. We deployed that, and it's available to council as well as to staff to send files that are just too big for email. And going on to our next one. It's not mentioned in the report, but we do have professional development for the IT. MISA Ontario is the Municipal Information Systems Association. It's actually a countrywide association, but there is an Ontario chapter. They do two big conferences every year. There's one, the annual, and it's where all the nerds get together. We share stories, successes, as well as failures. So failures will come under the names of certain municipalities that have been the victims of cyber attacks. And we have private meetings where vendors, nobody else is allowed in it, and they share with us inside information as to what happened, why it happened, how you can stop it, hopefully. The picture there is actually from the second conference called InfoSec, and that's a hackathon. And we pretended to be a municipality up north, and the hackathon was called Defend the North. And so we got to go through this, and we used AI to solve the problems. We are in two other areas there with the province and the Ontario with their cybersecurity platforms, and we engage in their webinars as well as monthly meetings to learn about different threat actors and things that are going on. The MFOA is mentioned because we volunteered there to do their audio video for 5 different rooms and streamed their meetings out to all their membership. 2026 work plan. Website refresh, that's already rolling. We just got our logins for the new website, and we'll be porting everything over, and I think you'll be impressed with the platform that's been chosen. Council Chambers AV, thank you very much for approving the budget. We'll work on improving the audio in here and as well getting a few more cameras. I know staff is not happy with that, but we will have a few more cameras so everybody can see what's going on in here. Our IT master plan, it's a small section there, but it covers a lot. It's what gives us that strategy that we mentioned at the beginning. It's going to direct us in the areas of the municipal ERP system. It's going to help us with the document management system. It's going to help us with our cybersecurity. It gives us a real oversight statement of where we should be going and how we should be getting there. So we're looking forward to all of these projects this year. We started a new corporation this year. That also means IT has some work to do over there. The first one is the automated metering infrastructure system. It's going to be wireless. We don't have to drive around in a pickup truck and scan all our water meters. So Jamie's off the hook. He's liking that. And then that one there was more or less just providing with some technical insight. The other one, though, the bulk water station software upgrade, we're taking that from a laptop to the cloud. That will enable more than one employee to be able to take care of that system. A few acknowledgements. We'd like to just thank Council for your support, and we look forward to 2026 and being just as busy. I'm open to any questions here.
Thank you, Carl. I moved, resolution moved by Councillor Martin, second by Councillor Woodham, that Township Midland Council receive for information report FIN 2025-35 regarding 2025 information technology outcomes, and that Council receive for information and presentation from the IT manager regarding the 2025 information technology outcomes. Wow, a lot of work done in a short time. Pretty impressive, but more to come. A lot more to come. They're going to be like the best small rural community in Ontario. Continue to be. Well, in the IT side, you know, we're getting to the other parts. We're right there, but now the IT, we're going to be right up there, and it's good to have Carl on board and doing this for us, because certainly has helped out the staff. I know has helped out tremendously with the staff and helped out here at council, and really thankful, Carl, for the work that you've done so far, and looking forward to the rest of the story that's coming up in 2026. Questions from council to our IT manager? All in favor? It's carried. Moving on to 9.42, and this goes on.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor and members of Council. I'm happy to inform you all that the procurement process for PMD ice rink and refrigeration system has now concluded. As noted in the report, staff had been working with consulting services from RJ Burnside over the past several months to develop the project specifications and bid requirements for this project. The bid was published in late October 2025 on our online bidding platform, and a mandatory site meeting was held on October 30 to allow all the interested bidders to familiarize themselves with the site and ask any questions related to the project. A selection committee was then established prior to bid closing, with members responsible for independently reviewing, scoring, and evaluating the submissions. The committee included our Director of Public Works, Manager of Community Services, Deputy Treasurer, and Climate Change Coordinator. The evaluation criteria is outlined in this report. Following the independent scoring of the technical scores, cost proposals were incorporated in the final results. Through this process, the committee reached consensus and is recommending that the design-build contract be awarded to Ball Construction Limited, who demonstrated a strong understanding of the project requirements, had a realistic timeline, and significant experience with similar projects. The 2026 capital budget included an estimate of $2.65 million for this project. However, the total projected cost, including the base bid items, provisional items, contingencies, consulting engineer fees, and the non-refundable portion of the HST, is anticipated to exceed that original allocation at $2,944,782. If approved tonight by council, the staff will proceed with awarding this contract and initiate the project immediately. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. And the resolution moved by Councillor Otten, second by Councillor Martin. Township Mapleton Council approved the award of a contract to Ball Construction Limited in the amount of $2,797,650 plus HST for the design build of the ice rink and refrigeration system at the PMD Arena, including provisional items, and that the Director of Public Works and clerk be authorized to enter into any contracts and agreements for the project works outlined as part of the Ball Construction Limited bid submission. Questions? No question, no question, no question. I can't see Amanda, so I don't know if... Don't know if Amanda has a question. I have a question while we're waiting for Amanda to get online here.
No, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any questions?
No, I'm good with the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Timing, when do we anticipate this to be started and finished?
Like we said, immediately. So in in their schedule, they did have design process starting like in mid-December to late December, with construction beginning in the new year. So like as soon as this gets approved, Jamie and Amy will get started right away.
To your Mayor Davison, so the schedule is immediate because of the tight timeline we do have. So we didn't want to kind of cut into our Drayton Farm Show. So as soon as the ice goes out for the Drayton Farm Show, the day after, they demobilize all the farm equipment. Ball Construction will, if this is approved, they will mobilize at that time, start construction. All the design's going to happen between now and that time. We will have meetings right away. And then the timeline for the project completion is probably around mid-August. And so that was probably, I'm very happy with that timeline. I really don't like to stretch it into getting into the start of September. So that gives us about a month before we would actually start the ice, putting the ice in around September 12th. I think it's normally when we put the ice in. So we have a little bit of a gap there. So I'm really impressed with that middle of August for substantial completion.
And that's what I was getting at. I wanted to make sure the farm show was getting in there and that we were working around that, so thank you.
Yeah, sorry, to you, Mayor Davison. So we did also, I think we maybe mentioned this before, we have talked to the gala, and they did move the gala this year because of the renovations we're doing. We were really kind of handcuffed, and we really need to get this project done for TSSA and other regulatory.
Well, yeah, it was our turn, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was our turn. So
Right.
I haven't seen the schedule unless somebody's seen their year after year schedule. So we'll reconnect with them and hopefully get it back, because I know they really like having it here in Mapleton. So that's the timelines.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? All in favor? Carried. Next up is 9.51, which is minimum maintenance standards. Jamie?
Thank you, Mayor Davison and Council. Just an annual report that I like to bring to Council, and we, with Mr. Kelly, we add a few things every year to the report just to clarify. We do get the odd concern. Usually this first snowfall of the year, this year was really bad. It was explained to Council through an email that road temperatures, the wet, heavy snow, it just instantly turned to hard pack. So, and it wasn't an isolated incident for Mapleton. It was surrounding municipalities in the north experienced the same thing. So it wasn't anything we were doing. Yeah, so it's just a reminder that, the big thing is that we do meet the standards. I always tell everybody we meet them. We do run the morning shift, 8 plows, and then in the afternoon, 4 plows. So we're on the road. We're not a county level, but we run our road 16 hours. The night the real bad storm came, we actually had 7 plows out, 8 during the day, 7 at night. So we are pounding the pavement, trying to keep the roads in condition, and the guys do a really great job. They get tired after a while, but we do run our shifts correctly for hours of service. And yeah, my hat's off really to staff, because few hiccups here, but usually Mother Nature related. Yeah, and we've ordered lots of salt, so. And we won't have any budget at the end of the year for winter maintenance, I was told by the treasurer. So anyway, just, yeah, just an annual thing, just to help council.
Spend it all and spend more if we have to. That's, I know as the finance director is probably not happy about that, but.
Oh, no, it doesn't disappoint me. I said if a service like that's a critical one needs to be done, I just want to be clear with Jamie that just because we run out of budget for winter control doesn't mean we stop doing it. Like, we're still going to do it. It just means we won't have surplus funds within winter maintenance this year.
That's right. Thank you. Resolution I have here is moved by Councillor Martin, second by Councillor Ottens. The Township Mapleton Council receive report PW 2025-16 regarding minimum maintenance standards, Ontario Regulation 239/02 and Ontario Regulation 366/18 for information. Questions from members of council? Councillor Reid.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. I just wanted more of a compliment, I guess, to Mr. Morgan and his team. Sidewalks in Alma, I've actually had a couple parents at the school give us compliments on how well cleared and early they are cleared for us to walk to school. So thank you from those people.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Moving on to item number 10, we have nothing. Number 12, Mr. Clerk has provided us a substantial number of items. Only 14, that's pretty good, Mr. Clerk. Anything from council on any of these items? We do want to recognize number one is from the GRCA. We have from Samantha Lawson, who's a CAO there. We have a letter of November 13th, 2025. And that's in recognition for Mapleton's Lagoons for the 2024 performance and how excellent we are. And it's like an award for us. What is Silver Recognition Award for improving the water quality of Conestoga River. Jamie, what do you got to say about that?
To you, Mayor Davison, I just want to thank Aqua. They manage our system. They're our operating authority, so they do a great job out there. And council's been really good to provide the money to keep our systems up and running. So we will be 100% next year. The little bit of a hiccup there in the 20% is in the reporting, and Aqua's template for the reporting to the MACP did not include this portion, but I've been told 100% they will have that changed for the reporting next year, and I'm hoping really to hit that 100%.
So we'll be a gold standard next year.
We should get gold next year. So no, it's just a thanks to everybody who has a hand in the whole process.
Well, if we get a gold medal, then I'm going to ask Amy to create one and put it around your neck. No, we ought to ring like like a bling like the young boys here, big rings there, championship rings.
I want a ring.
Yeah, you want a ring, yeah. Okay, forget the medal, Amy, we're making rings apparently. Okay, questions on this, anything, on any of these items? Anybody need to bring anything up? Nope, all right. Notice of motion today. We'll go to other business. Other business, we've had 2 parades so far. The 2 parades went very well. And we have one more coming up in Alma. That's on the 21st, I believe it is. So we'll have that one more parade coming up, and Alma's always a busy parade. So many people there. So we're looking forward to that. Anybody else have other business? The Sip and Shop that was rescheduled, that's Thursday night this week. I suppose you're going to be there this week, okay? All right, perfect. Nothing further? We have no closed session, so we'll go to confirmatory bylaw. Moved by Councillor Otten, second by Councillor Martin, and bylaw number 2025-059, being a bylaw to confirm all actions and proceedings of the council, the corporation and township of Mapleton, be hereby read a first, second, and third time, signed by the mayor clerk, sealed with a corporate seal. All in favor? That's it. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy New Year. We'll see you in 2026. We're adjourned.